sent this picture in, and we can see just, like the arrow indicates, there's a little bit of swelling just in this area. So what we're able to do using a couple different kinds of software, we can kind of look at sort of the anatomy in that area. Having removed the pec major muscle, we can see what's underneath and overlay that on top of what's in the photograph. So what we can see is that the arrow just sort of indicates that you're pointing right at that first rib. And so what's in that? So we have to then, because it's not going to be necessarily the first rib outside of a fracture, and if you've had X-rays and they're negative, outside of a fracture, the rib isn't itself going to cause the problem. So we have to examine then what attaches to the first rib. So what we'll look at that point is sort of the intercostal muscles, so either between the rib or some of the scalene muscles that attach to the top of that rib and may elevate it. We can also look at the subclavius muscle, but looking at all of those things muscularly from a soft tissue standpoint, that's one of those are a couple of the spaces that we'll look at to determine what's going on there, what might be irritated, especially in the front part of your body, where it looks like there may be some strain placed on that sternocostal joint. Around the back, what we would want to do is look at the different spots that might be that might be affected by that area. So specifically where the first rib attaches to T1. So we may want to see what T1 is doing, specifically with relationship to the segments above and below it. So C7 and T2, making sure that the interspinous spaces, so the spaces between the spinous processes, so the ridges on your back, are relatively even up and down, above and below that T1 spot. So that T1 is going to be sort of, that first big, at the base of your neck, one of the first big bumps that you feel. It's usually either C7 or T1, one or the other. And so we'll want to check soreness, spacing, tenderness of the soft tissues back there, to see if there's something that might be disrupted back there. So that's what we would want to check in this circumstance. It's not, you can actually see the asymmetry and the otherwise well-developed musculature in the area, but you can see sort of the puffiness in the asymmetry right to left, when comparing. So it's good to compare. It's especially good if you can sort of overlay these things and sort of see through. That's what we're seeing.